Hey, my friend, cheers, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Kelly. Today we're talking all about bad influences. When our sweet little children turn into crazy little devils because of that bad kid on the street. Or something like that. So diving right into it, a big thank you today from Cindy via YouTube, who asks, how to deal with a 5-year-old going on 15. Since he started kindergarten, I have lost my sweet boy to outside friends' influences. Help! Oh my gosh, I know, kindergarten is just, it's a whole different ball of wax, isn't it? It's really our kids' first experience going out and being influenced by so many people that aren't us, right? Because for a lot of kids up until that point, we've been the main influence on their life, but now they've got teachers, they've got supply staff, other kids in their class. It's a lot to deal with. And the first thing that came to mind when reading your question is the importance of keeping our cool. Because I know, at least for me, when my kids start being disrespectful or acting out or doing things where I'm just like, what the are you doing? Like, why did you do that? My blood pressure goes up and it can bring out the worst in me. So I try to be very mindful of my reaction to their behavior when they start acting out of sorts or not acting like themselves, is to not be a total spaz myself. When I start acting a spaz, it's only gonna make things worse. So try not to get sucked into their drama and try not to take it personally. And second thing is try not to panic. I know when we see our kids acting out or starting to be disrespectful or mouthy or really defiant, it's kind of scary, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? Where did I go wrong? What do I do? How do I fix it? But try not to panic. It's totally normal. I know it's annoying probably to hear that, but it really is just our kids trying out these new behaviors, mimicking other people, and in many cases, it's nothing to worry about. And the other thing I try to keep in mind too is that influence goes both ways. So sometimes we can feel like our child is the one who's under the bad influence of someone else, or we wish that kid would just stop doing X so our kid wouldn't be copying, but your child's positive characteristics can just as easily rub off on that other child who maybe really does need a good friend right now. So I always try to keep that in mind. And I also keep in mind that, you know what? I know that my kids are not angels. No one's an angel, right? No one is an angel. We all have good days, we all have bad days, we all make mistakes. So I try not to keep them on a pedestal, because I know that if I polish their crown too much, it's just asking to attract dust. I don't know what kind of analogy that is, but I don't know. Do you even know what I mean? I don't know if I know what I mean. Okay, anywho. As far as dealing with it, some practical strategies on dealing with it, try to focus on your own child. And I know that's hard because you can see that, okay, my child's been one way, he's always been really respectful, he's always used his manners, and now he's hanging out with this kid, messing around all the time, he's saying fart jokes all the time. You can tell fart jokes are a thing in my house right now. And we can blame and we can point fingers. I think all of us probably have been guilty of that at one time or another. But the way that I see it, it's really that first introduction to learning that we can't control anyone else. All we can control is ourselves and our actions and our reactions. So we can forget about fixing that other child or how to navigate life around this other child, and instead focus on beefing our kids up with the tools of how to deal with those kinds of situations. So you didn't mention exactly what behaviors you're noticing, but so depending on what it is, my advice would be different based on the situation, but just generally speaking, try and stay really curious about what you're seeing and what you're observing. So you can just say, I noticed that you play more rough when you're with so-and-so. How do you feel about that? Or do you like playing like that? Or if you hear on the street that maybe this child you're referring to is teasing someone else or making fun of someone else, you can just have a conversation with yours. How would you handle that situation if you were with him when he started doing that? Or just getting really curious instead of accusing, or because that's what like throwing down. That's what we can tend to do, right? Like, I saw this and I don't like that and I don't agree with that. Even though that comes from a good place, and of course we want the best for our kids, it just makes them put up walls, right? Like, just think of your own life if someone started doing that to you. Sally's such a jerk, and why do you hang out with them? And they're such a loser, and I want you to stay away from them. Like, you would just totally put up walls and not even have any regard for what they were saying. And another thing you can do is talk about what it means to be a good friend. What kind of friends they would like to have, how they would like to spend time with their friends, just kind of building on those positive qualities and reminding them what feels good. And just in talking even to some of my own friends, a lot of our experience has been that the disrespect starts showing up and the testing and the defiance around school age. You mentioned your son is 5. I know I've spoken before about using I statements in coaching our kids through dealing with conflict and expressing themselves by using I statements. We can flip that and use it ourselves. So if our kids start disrespecting us or start giving us tone or start giving us attitude, well, first off, the biggest thing is trying not to give it back, right? But then after that is using I statements ourselves. They're a really great way to get your point across in a non-threatening way, leaving the door open for communication. And of course, if you haven't got it already, I have a free printable download, a cheat sheet that you can grab that really explains it in details. And one last thing before I go is just to be sensitive to the fact that there might be something bigger going on. Because while I said it's totally normal behavior, don't panic, there could be something going on. There could be an underlying issue. So if this behavior is really coming out of left field, it came out of nowhere, and it's really intense, and just your spidey senses are tingling, so to speak. I talk in superheroes now, like what's happening to me? Pay attention to that feeling, because at the end of the day, it's really up to our kids. It's up to our kids to decide who their friends are going to be. We cannot pick their friends as much as we sometimes might like to, right? So just recognizing that it's all part of growing up, it's all part of navigating social relationships, and this is really just the first step. So try to play it cool, don't panic, focus on your own child, be really honest about how these behaviors and how these actions are affecting you using I statements. Of course, download my free cheat sheet if you want some more direction with that, and be cognizant of the fact that there might be something deeper going on. So just be open to having those conversations. So Cindy, I hope that helps. I wish you the best of luck in navigating these kindergarten years with your son, and let me know how it's going. Let me know how it's going. And of course, for anyone else out there, leave your questions, comments below. If you'd like to have your question featured on an upcoming edition of our coffee chat, make sure to leave it in the comments. You can DM me on social media, tag me using the hashtag coffeewithkelly. Always love hearing from you. So I think that's all for now, guys. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you soon.